With AI writing copy, automating campaigns, and even personalizing content, are email marketing agencies on the way out? Funnily enough, there is a Reddit thread that says yes, but we're not so sure. And today's video, we're going to break down the importance of email marketing agencies. Should you hire an email agency? Can you do all this with AI? Can you build a team of agents to just run your retention marketing department for you? With me, I have Dan, the head of retention marketing at Hays. Dan oversees all of our clients and team members to ensure that they're hitting their objectives and just having an amazing experience with us as an agency. I'm the founder of the agency. We've been doing this since 2020. And if you run an e-commerce brand and you just want to hand your retention side of your business to a team that knows exactly what they're doing, who's worked with 8 and 9 figure brands to just take care of this for you, take care of your customer journey, this is exactly what we do and what we specialize in. So I invite you to book a call with me down below. First link in the video description. We'll just have a very frank, open, honest conversation about your business and see if there's a fit for us to work together, right? We turn away more businesses than we take on because we know which businesses and which brands we crush it for, and we want to keep our quality high. So as already mentioned, AI can do a lot of things nowadays when it comes to email, right? It can write copy, it can come up with A/B tests, it can write subject lines, whatever it is. Now, the question is, are email marketing agencies becoming extinct in a way? And can brands actually save money by saying, hey, we don't need this agency. We can just have one person, like a freelancer, like a consultant, who just leverages the AI. Curious to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I use AI a lot in everything we do. It's made, if anything, it's made everything quicker, more efficient, and allowed us to scale brands faster than we previously could. And maybe what took 4 months, 5 months to get to a certain level now takes like half the time, right? And because we can plan ahead quicker, we can essentially write campaigns quicker, at least skip the whole, writer's block. And it means we can combine roles into one. So we don't need to like separate in Hays. We don't have just a copywriter to do copy. We have someone who does copy and strategy. Is kind of like they become a generalist. Yeah, I think there's a quote that I'll put here, which I found from r/email marketing in Reddit, that says AI can write, but it doesn't know what to say, right? We have to prompt it, you have to refine it, you have to tell it, you have to speak to it. And I can have a perfect example of this yesterday, we're actually creating a new offer here at Hays, which I won't go too much into now. But long story short, it basically requires for me to build segments, specific segments that aren't just your general 30-day engaged, right? It's more specific than that. And I'm going back and forth with AI, ChatGPT, to help me plan out different phases of rolling out these segments. And one of the things it did is it gave me the conditions of the segments to build. And so it's funny, I tried out AI first to just see what it would give me. So I copied ChatGPT definitions of what the segment should be, copied that into Klaviyo's AI segment builder, because they have in their segments, as you may know, you can actually prompt it inside the segment. So I copied the prompt and put it into that. And I mean, what it gave me was completely wrong. I was just trying to build a simple unengaged segment from a specific date, and it ended up pulling people in that had been opening emails yesterday. So it's like, and the funny thing is I would screenshot that, put it back into ChatGPT and say, this is wrong, this is why it's wrong. And then they would be like, oh yeah, sorry, that is wrong. You're like, yeah, well, why did you give it me thinking it's right? So basically what I'm saying is there's a lot of things that AI cannot do. And I'm surprised. I thought by now it would be able to build segments like without us having to build them ourselves. And it shocked me. It really did.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show that while there is a ton of advancements in AI and a lot of great use cases, there's still a way to go with very specific things. Yeah. Things that are also nuanced as well. Like it's going to be different for every brand. Like for example, the unengaged segments, that will be different depending on the brand, depending on the purchase cycle, right? Like there's a lot of different factors that go into this. And my thoughts on this is that your email agency, if you have an agency, whoever's doing email marketing, it should come from the human side element, because ultimately you know how other humans, well, as a marketer, you should know how other humans make decisions when it comes to purchasing and repeat purchasing and coming up with those ideas to get people to repeat purchase. But that person or that agency should be leveraging AI to its fullest potential to move faster, come up with new ideas, do a lot of the research, which basically informs ideas and better copy and everything else, better execution. And then also leveraging some tools to improve the performance, right? And I think it's a tool, not just for productivity, but also there's an ROI there as well.
I want to ask you a question. So do you think agencies now are becoming more like consultants rather than, say, content creators because of the AI, the emergence in AI?
You mean more like providing advice rather than executing. I still think you need someone to implement and execute, and you always will. You can have a team of AI agents, maybe not for like these things that we're talking about, but for other things. But I do think you need someone to, first of all, be on the consulting side and on the execution side, right? And that's what we do, is like, even though we're using AI in a lot of different areas to make our work better and make the outcome better for the client, ultimately we're the ones that are putting the final stamp of approval on the ideas and on the strategy itself. And we're also the ones making sure that the things that are being sent out are upholding the brand. Like, email is such an important channel. SMS is such an important channel for the brand. Like, it's our job, it's our duty to uphold the brand. Because when you send an email out, that email is out there forever. If you run an ad that's off brand, just turn the ad off, right? It's very different. And every time you send an email, if you're not upholding the brand or something goes out that it shouldn't, you're damaging your brand's reputation, but you're also damaging the relationship you have with the customer, because then the CEO is less trustworthy. So these sorts of things, like, at least for me, I just feel a lot more, I feel a lot better when I know I can look a human in the eyes and say, have you got this? And they say yes. And I say, okay, cool, let's go. Rather than like trusting an AI, which, as you said, still makes a lot of mistakes.
Lots of mistakes.
So with that said, right, like, AI, good at some things, not so good at others. I guess if we could break down what parts of email marketing should AI own versus, what parts should humans continue to own?
Yeah, so I spoke about this in a previous video. Research, I think, is something that would have took maybe hours and days to complete, and even like would have touched barely the surface of the research I would have got. It might not even be that accurate. Now you can use something like Perplexity, which I love, which is really good at finding like factual source-based information that's not just news-driven. It's like actual backed by research papers. You can put this into Claude as well. You can actually download these research papers that you find on Perplexity and put them into Claude, and then have Claude like dissect it. We've done this for our agency to help with like processes, specifically for making sure our clients have a good experience. So I remember one point I asked Perplexity to find me research papers on the standards you have to have inside of an agency and the processes you have to build to have a high retention rate within the agency. So my goal as the head of retention was actually to have a high retention rate with our clients before the client, before we do it for the clients. We needed to do it internally. So it did. And then we implemented new processes. For one of the main processes that we implemented in Hays is around giving the client control. And that doesn't mean like we're not giving ideas and we're not giving hypotheses and we're not being an expert. It means that everything that we do, we want to present to the client and say to them, hey, this is the idea we've got, A, B, C, we prefer A, but we wanted to present them to you. Which one do you like? Do you want us to go with A based on this reason? Or would you prefer to try out the other ones? And it's kind of like, it comes from a client relationship that way. And I learned that just through research papers, learning like what keeps people around, how do you have friends in how do human relationships actually form and how do they stick around? It's like we have this common goal, a common objective, and we're working towards it together. And I learned this through actual research papers based on AI, but it was super valid. There's just one way of using it, but there's many. I think research is key. At least that's the one that I've found is what the best for me.
Yeah, it's huge. And the fact that AI can process a ton of data as well. Like, if you have a full list of hundreds of thousands of customer reviews, you can upload that data to AI and it will process and extract the insights for you. Like, things like that as well. It's going to save you a bunch of time. And even, would you even go through all the reviews yourself? Like, no, it's way too many. You would go through some and you try and get like an overall consensus. But now it's like a completely other level. Another thing that I think AI should own, and humans should still oversee it, is more about what to do with the data. And I think if, for example, AI is monitoring flows, it's constantly looking at the metrics and it knows benchmarks and also what's good, what's not. It can make decisions on that data much faster than humans. And it might also be able to look at historic data and be able to create like extrapolate the data across like the next 3 months and say, if we don't make a change, this is where we're going. Almost be able to like predict what's going to happen based on that data, on all these data points that humans, we just can't, process. So I think that's an interesting one. We have some partners, Arita, where they don't do that, but they use AI to make sure that we're emailing the people that we should be emailing. And there's a lot of machine learning and data and all these things that we can't do as humans.
So we have research is one. Having AI do your research and then checking it yourself, making sure it's from a valuable resource. Perplexity AI is a good one. Second is using data and processing that data to make better decisions, whether it's planning out like what emails you're going to send. In this case, Arita is a good example of they use data to make sure we're sending emails to the right people. I think the third one is where you can is relevancy and personalization. Now, I don't believe we're currently at the stage where, for example, with personalization and relevancy, I've talked about this previously, where I believe that every single person is going to receive a very individual email that specifically talks to them based on how they behave. And again, AI is using the data to find out what their intent is, like what have they been clicking on the website, what have they been browsing, what have they been purchasing, or what haven't they purchased, how do they interact with the brand, are they someone who like comes on and off, or are they someone who sticks around for a long time? And again, everyone will receive a completely different email. Like the design will be different, the copy will be different, the subject line, all of it. I think we'll get to that stage. I think we are at that stage now. There are tools that do this, but they're not as good as they can be. I think the third way is to personalize where you can, but not really rely on it wholeheartedly yet, because you don't want to damage the brand's reputation long term. Okay, so the last question, more on the agency side, is do you think agencies will need to offer tech stack expertise or some kind of integration expertise to make sure that they stay relevant?
So I'll give you a few perspectives on this. The first one is that the agency, they should be the one that's using AI tools and bringing these AI tools to retention marketing side of the business. And they should also be able to implement them as well, right? Even though, yeah, these tools give you support and everything, they should be able to use them to the highest potential. Now, when it comes to on the integration side and how you can integrate that with other areas of the business, I also think that's important. For example, if there's a tool that is good for retention, but it could also be good for acquisition and running ads or creating ad creatives, then yeah, they should, of course, be able to see that connection and then make that introduction to whoever's doing the ads. Going back to the question, do I think they need to do this to survive? I would say no. I do think in order to thrive, they need to be leveraging AI. And just as we've been speaking about, like being able to squeeze the most out of that in terms of extra ROI, extra revenue, speed, better ideas, like whatever it can be. I think that's what they should be doing to approach it. But I'm curious to get your thoughts. Like, yeah, what do you think?
I mean, you pretty much hit it spot on. Yeah, I mean, we're doing it for our clients because we want to give extra value and maximize ROI. I'll be honest, like the tech stack as well needs to be thought about very carefully because, for example, I don't want to name any names, but there have been experiences where maybe we used the wrong tech and, for example, in email, maybe our spam complaints went up or something negatively happened, and that's then on us. Obviously, those things happen and you learn from it, and it's fine. Once you learn from it, you have to make the decision whether or not to continue. But just be aware that, test one thing at a time and see if it works and really make sure you're measuring it all over. Like, because you don't know if if one tech you implement is going to, for example, spam complaints go up in your campaigns or something, right? Maybe you get loads more profiles come into your email, but then spam complaints go up. Or maybe something changes on the ad side. Maybe CAC goes up or, acquisition costs go up. I don't know. But you just need to make sure whenever you do try something that you have a testing period. And most, just to kind of give you an idea, like whoever's watching this, if you want to partner with an agency that, like us, I mean, we've tested these things already. So when you come on board, we know what works, what doesn't, and we'll know what works for your business, what doesn't. So that's the easy way. Like just partner with an agency that knows tech stacks at work. Or if you go about it yourself and you want to start testing tech stacks, then one by one and ask them for a 30-day free trial. If they're confident in their product, confident in proof of concept, they'll give you it. If they don't, then you may need to have another conversation around proof of concept and how, you're going to get a guaranteed return on your investment, just to make sure that you're not, harming your brand or losing money in the process.
Yeah, something else to add on to what you mentioned there, working with the right partner, they'll know what tech to introduce, but also when.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't make sense to always use, for example, some brands were using all tools because they're at a different stage, and some other brands, it's like, no, let's just use this one, because the other ones we don't feel like we're going to get the ROI yet at this stage. When they grow to a certain point, it's like, okay, now it makes sense. And I think that you need to be discerning, be very skeptical of these tools as well, because as Dan said, we've had experiences where we've had negative impact from these tools that in some cases can be very detrimental to the business and hard to recover from. If it really impacts your deliverability, spam complaints go up, whatever, your bounce rate goes through the roof. These are very detrimental things to your email business and they could take months to recover from. And the tool they're like, well, it's not us, you know?
We didn't promise. We didn't promise anything.
Just be very careful. Look, if you want a list of like tools that have been vetted and actually move the needle, because honestly, most of them don't. And it's very attractive to always get the latest tool, like just add. But honestly, less is more. And just having a few tools that do the right things and do it well is all you need. Look, nothing is going to save a bad retention marketing strategy or bad deliverability. So get those things in place first. The tools just enhance what's already there. If you want, a list of tools, comment down below. We're, happy to send them over. Dan's been doing a lot of breakdowns, other videos, go check them out, of AI tools, of different things that we're using so you can actually see how we put these things to the test as well and how they actually work. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this one, let us know in the comments as well. We're doing this new format, sitting here, we're together in Medellin, Colombia. And yeah, we want to know if you prefer this format, if you prefer the other ones where it's more like sharing the screen and going deep into the other concepts. We want to try and strike a balance to give you some different styles of content. And as I mentioned, if you are running an e-commerce brand and you want to hand over your retention marketing, just don't have to think about it, just hand it over, then book a call, link down below. We can talk about your business, chat about your objectives, current challenges, and I'll just tell you honestly what I would do in your position. And that may not be, hey, work with us. Like sometimes, that's not the best move depending on where you're at with your business. But if we feel like it's a home run, I will also let you know and I'll explain exactly why. All right. So yeah, that's it for this one. We'll see you in the next video.